Greetings, B-movie aficionados.
Hello, welcome to A Couple of Flicks. I am Tristan.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Zach.
So, post-Halloween hangover, it's a little brutal, but life goes on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And speaking of Halloween, I guess I figure since we may as well sort of quickly talk about films that we've seen recently. I did watch the newest Halloween movie.
Yep. So did I.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what are your thoughts on it?
It was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like it. It's so stupid.
Yeah, that was bad. I agree.
Yeah. Was it Halloween 6 bad?
I wouldn't say it's as bad as that. I'd say it was. I would rank it higher than Halloween 6, and I would also probably rank it higher than Halloween Resurrection, just because Halloween Resurrection really pissed me off. Because Halloween Resurrection is basically like Halloween FaceTime, or not Halloween FaceTime, Halloween live webcam, Buster Rhymes,
Yeah.
But it still was. I don't know, like. I feel like the death scenes were really the only thing that was actually that was interesting about it, and the death scenes weren't even that great. So like they weren't even as creative as they were like in like the older movies.
Yeah.
I don't even remember any of them. So that's how creative they were.
Yeah.
I remember the only ones I really remember, he killed a bunch of fireplacemen or firefighters at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah,
that's all I remember.
Pretty much the only death scene I thought was actually effective was the one where they find the guy in the attic and he's all crushed up at the end. Like that was kind of the only part that I was like, whoa, that's kind of scary, But then the rest of it was surprisingly just kind of like, he kills somebody and then like that, then moving on, nobody ever really reacts or anything. I don't know. It kind of felt like a Godzilla movie almost, like strangely enough. It was kind of charming to see him prop up the dead bodies on like this merry-go-round and stuff. Like it is kind of like a nice reminder that Michael Myers is still kind of like a 6-year-old, and so everybody around him is just like people toys.
Yeah.
But otherwise, that's kind of it. Like, I don't know, all the bullshit at the hospital where it's just Jamie Lee Curtis is just depressed in bed and they chase that one
tonight.
Evil dies tonight.
I got so sick of hearing that.
So yeah.
The part where they chased that one guy out the window was kind of funny. I mean,
mentality thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it wasn't supposed to be funny, but I got a laugh out of me. So, and then like, I don't know, just that like I was okay with it at first. Like it started off kind of shitty, but I was thinking like, it could get better. But then when you get to that part where, the Hope Davis character or whatever, like when she's like in the hospital. And she's like, oh, we done away with him or whatever. And the guy's like, wait, you haven't heard? And she's like, heard what? And I'm just like, oh no. And he's like, Michael Myers is still alive. And she goes, what? And she's like shrieks at the top of her lungs. And then like after that, like everybody just goes crazy and acts stupid. And like it just kind of, I don't know, it got pretty boring.
Mm-hmm. It was real boring.
Yeah. Although I am glad, it's spoiler, I guess. I am glad that she got slaughtered at the end, Like, all right, well, at least there's something, like that'll get me to see the next one because now I know she's not in it.
Yeah.
And I also love how like they beat him down and shoot him and then kick him a few times, but they don't bother setting him on fire. They don't bother decapitating him. They don't bother like doing anything. They just leave him on the ground and walk away.
It's like, no, he's dead now after a good beating, even though he survived fires and bullets and fucking all that. Good beating will kill him.
Always got a double tap.
Yep. Double tap.
Yeah, pretty much. And then also then Jamie Lee Curtis at the very end started to suddenly have psychic visions or whatever, saying like, oh, the more we try to kill him, like the more powerful he becomes. And it's like, what? Like, all right, whatever.
Isn't it? He gains more power. He's gaining more power for more people he kills, I think.
Yeah. Something like that. Which is just like, okay, well, I mean, I don't know. Like, I thought they weren't even going to bother with the supernatural I mean, I guess like they kind of have to do it anyway, because in the first movie, it doesn't really make sense that they like he gets stabbed in the eye and all this crap, and he's still alive, you know. But it's still just, I don't know. It just didn't really make sense for her to suddenly like just start spitting that kind of crap out.
Yeah, it just came to her mind. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't like it, and you know, and the thing that pisses me off the most about it is that I'm still gonna see the last one, you know, like
yeah, kind of have to now.
Yeah,
hopefully it'll be on HBO Max or whatever, Peacock.
Yeah, right. Peacock. I heard that's probably just going to be theatrical. I think they said that they only put this one on Peacock to get more viewers, more eyes on it. Because I did not know it was going to be a trilogy at all.
Yeah.
Like, I just thought they had success with that with the remake they did in 2018, and then this one got made. I didn't know they were planning a trilogy.
Well, this last one better not suck. Like, you know, Michael Myers better do some really awesome shit, because man, I don't know, it got played really fast, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And like, what was with that one part where he like slams the car door on that one chick, and then she accidentally shoots herself? Like, I'm just like, this is like a comedy now. Like,
yeah. So dumb.
Yeah. And then I also saw the new Dune movie, and I really loved it.
Hey,
although what was that?
Those were the two movies I was gonna say, because I saw Doom in theaters this time with subtitles and everything.
Cool. Yeah. And yeah, how do you feel about it after you've seen it a second time?
Good. It's real good. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that it's more meditative, you know. I think that kind of makes it a little bit more like old fashioned in a way, like, because so many movies these days tend to have like they just have to like constantly like throw stuff at you again and again. Like the Rise of Skywalker is a good example of that, where there's just something always has to be happening, and it doesn't even really matter like what it is that's happening. It just has to be something, you know. But in this movie, like the characters actually, like the film actually allows the characters to kind of breathe for a minute and actually like think and do stuff, you know. So although I will say it, you know, when it like suddenly ended, I was kind of disappointed, because it was like it didn't feel very long, even though it's over 2 hours.
Yeah,
I felt the same way.
Yeah,
especially knowing that there was more.
Yeah, you know, I think the best thing to do would be for people to kind of just wait a little bit. Like if anybody hasn't seen it now, like it doesn't really matter, because they've already announced the sequel, so you know that's at least good. So I think most people should probably just like wait a little bit and then just wait for the sequel to come out and then watch this. I think that would probably be like the most effective way to, yeah.
He says he wants to maybe try the trilogy if they let him go for it in a trilogy.
I think he's gonna have to, because they didn't really cover very much of the book in this one.
That's what I've heard, is they didn't get that far.
Yeah, they only got about one fifth of the way, 1/6, something like that, you know. And there's so many huge like story arcs and stuff and character arcs, and just there's way too much stuff that happens. I think that he is gonna have to probably make it into a trilogy more than likely. I mean, realistically speaking.
Yeah.
So.
Hopefully it gets greenlit before it's out, because like I guess they were waiting for the box office and shit to see if they're gonna greenlit part 2, because I didn't, because it wasn't until after even I saw it in theaters that like the day after they officially greenlit it.
Yeah.
So
Okay, that makes sense. And then I also watched Psycho Gorman.
Nice.
Yeah. And yeah, I it was entertaining. It definitely reminded me of like Astron 6's other, even though I know they're not technically together anymore, it definitely felt like the same kind of thing, like Manborg and Father's Day and stuff like that. I mean, it wasn't quite as over the top as those, but in a way it was, you know.
Yeah.
So,
I enjoyed that one.
yeah, it was good. It was definitely like old school in its own sort of way. It had the same kind of like twisted, like kind of cruel type of humor, you know. And like the last shot of it during the credits kind of makes you feel like you got kicked in the groin a little bit, you know. The main character was a little bit too severe in my view, but
Yeah, I thought the main little girl was annoying as fuck.
I mean, I think it was just a little weird feeling more like scared about what she would do than the psychotic alien,
Yeah.
you know. It kind of reminded me a little bit of like Eric Cartman, or like or maybe like
Cartman. What about Kenny?
Yeah. Well, Kenny's, you know, of course, you know, I mean, my favorite character on the show is Butters, but still, I love Kenny.
Yeah, Butters is awesome.
Yeah. She also kind of reminded me of like Rhoda Penmark and other characters like that. Like, I don't know. At first, I didn't really like her very much, but eventually I kind of got into it because she was weird enough that like eventually it was like, all right, you know, like at first I was like, oh my god, I don't know how much of this I can take, you know.
Yeah.
But then like once the other characters showed up and she started doing like really fucked up shit, like I don't know, in a way it was kind of interesting. So but yeah, probably not for everybody.
Yep.
You know, I did dig the practical effects a lot though. You know?
Oh yeah, those were awesome.
Yeah. I think probably the part that bothered me the most was the part where well, actually no, it didn't really bother me. I actually thought it was really funny, was the deformed cop character when he tried to kill himself.
Yeah.
I don't know. That made me laugh really hard for some reason. And I watched it with friends too. I think it's probably an ideal movie to watch with other people, you know, especially if it's like people around your age who like grew up with stuff like Power Rangers and things. You know?
Oh yeah.
Or like Big Bad Beetleborg. Kind of remind me of that a little bit too.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all the most interesting stuff I've watched, aside from the films that we shall be discussing in a few minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, those are the only two I watched really, and then I started last night. The show Midnight Mass from that. What's it called? Haunted Bly Manor, and then Haunted Hill House. That
Mr. Flanagan fella.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
I only watched the first episode so far, but it was interesting. I like the drop, or the setting was nice. It's like takes place on like some random island. So far, the first episode, of course, with like 127 people on it. It's like some. I'm assuming it's off the coast of the Pacific Northwest because they mention Oregon, but it's like just this really. interesting tiny little town thing. I think it would be cool if it was just a regular serial killer type thing, because it's such a small community, everyone knows each other, but someone's serial killing. I think that would be a nice way for it to go, but I'm pretty sure it's horror. It's a horror, sci-fi or whatever, ghost related, as his other works were. Yeah. But good first episode. Well, probably finish it by the time we record next. I'll let you know.
Cool. Because I did see the Haunting of Bly Manor, and I did like that a lot.
Yeah, it wasn't as good as the Haunting of Hill House, though.
Yeah, I agree.
And they do have reoccurring actors in this as well. So it's like, American Horror Story, but good.
Yeah. Have you seen any of his work, Zach?
No, I haven't yet.
Okay.
You got to get on that Haunting of Hill House at least. That's real good.
They had a haunted house for it at Horror Nights this year.
Oh, really?
So I
Damn.
got a little peek into it, but
Okay.
I didn't know the story, so I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of waiting for the hype to die down a little on that one.
Yeah, that's what I did too. I kind of waited a few months, and then I was like, all right, now I can kind of like sit down and watch this over the course of a couple nights and just kind of enjoy it on my own terms rather than, yeah. But
I watched it during the hype, maybe a couple weeks after, but went to my usual sources of where they say things are good or not, and I said, okay, you like it, so check it out.
yeah. And then I have seen the films that he's directed too. I'm not as crazy about them, I must admit.
I don't even, what's he made? I don't even know.
He did Gerard's Game, which I like the book, the Stephen King novel. I really, really loved the book. I hated the movie. I thought it was really, really stupid. And then what was that one about the girl, Hush or whatever it was called?
Yeah. I've seen that.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, what do you think of that one?
I enjoyed that.
Yeah. The ending really annoyed the shit out of me. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe if I might have been in a bad mood. And then I don't know, Doctor Strange, or not Doctor Strange, Doctor Sleep. I had mixed feelings about that one too.
Oh, he did that.
Yeah, like I like the first 2/3 of that, but I don't know, that last part really just confused me, in the way that was like annoying, and that one I might need to rewatch again as well.
Still gotta see that one.
I haven't seen it either. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd recommend going in as blind as possible. I think when I saw it because some people I knew who, I trusted the opinions of, really, really loved it and hyped it up a lot, and were like, oh, it's so amazing, you got to see it. And I just was like, I've seen The Shining like several times, and I love The Shining. And
it's the problem. How can you beat The Shining?
Yeah, exactly. And everybody was saying that this was like at that level, and
yeah, I would never believe it.
Yeah, I just didn't.
Kubrick, come on, you can't.
It actually isn't too bad for like a while, like for a good chunk of it. It's the type of movie where it kind of leaves you sort of up in the air for like a good hour and a half, and you're kind of expecting it to lead to something really like groundbreaking. But I just didn't really agree. I didn't really like the way they did the last part of it. Like I don't know, it annoyed me in a weird way. Like I don't even know how to explain it without, like, if you've seen it, it'd be easier to talk about. So maybe I should just kind of save that discussion for another day, because I do want to give that one another chance at some point, because I think I had unrealistic expectations for it, and maybe I just should have sort of gone about it. There were things I really admired about it. Like there were parts where they recreated the characters and the settings and stuff from The Shining, and they actually did a really good job with it. But then there were just so many things about it that just weren't necessary. Not so much as far as like the main plot or anything, but just like what it kind of leads to. Like, and I'd read the book kind of before I watched it, and they changed some things about it that, like, I get why they did it, because they wanted it to, because it like the way the book is, like, they couldn't really do it without like being consistent with the way the first book was, but with also with the first movie. So they had to kind of compromise some of the cool things about the book. And I don't mind that, but at the same time, it was just like, ugh, I don't know. I'll give it another shot at some point. So. But I like him though. I like Flanagan, Mike Flanagan. I'd be curious to kind of follow his career, or continue to, and I definitely want to see Midnight Mass for sure. So
Yeah.
If you watched anything recently, Zach, it's worth talking about.
I haven't watched too much. I watched 8 Diagram Pole Fighter this morning.
How was that?
Pretty good. Another Gordon Liu kung fu movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I excellent. All right. Yeah.
That's about it.
Well, I'm always on board for that kind of thing. So
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of like reviews and stuff for Hong Kong movies. So
nice.
Just haven't really had time to actually watch one till today.
Okay. Well, that's quite a world, I gotta say.
Yeah, I've kind of been like taking a step away from collecting horror stuff, and I've gotten a bunch of Hong Kong titles.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. It's kind of an untapped world, and like I'd be willing to bet there's probably quite a few unknown gems in that realm of things. So
yeah,
I definitely familiar with that title. But I haven't seen that one, so
it's not bad. Your typical 80s kung fu movie.
Cool. Yeah, I like a lot of those. So. I do listen to the Bruce Lee podcast with Shannon Lee. Some of my coworkers kind of get annoyed by it because I'll like put it on in the background while I'm washing dishes and stuff. But I don't know. I love it. So
nice. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. That being said, let's just go right ahead and talk about the 3 films that we have chosen for this episode. And I shall start with my choice first, which is a picture titled Dead Man's Curve. Although there is an alternate title which is just The Curve. And which is a little annoying because the movie doesn't actually really have to do that much with a curve. It's actually more of a cliff. So I think Dead Man's Cliff would have been more appropriate, but whatever.
I think they're talking about like a curved grade. Like, how grading systems are curved.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Because I also believe that in the very end or something, like they say the title and just like that clause or whatever, that if your roommate dies, you get a 4.0, is called the Dead Man's Curve.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess that answers my biggest question.
Yeah, it was like a throwaway line that someone whispered, I feel.
Yeah. But what were you about to say, Zach?
I didn't know that was it either.
Yeah. Well, actually, the reason, all right, I did find out the reason why they retitled it The Curve was because they were concerned that it was going to be confused with another movie starting with Dead Man on Campus, which kind of has the same plot. I don't know if you guys have seen that one.
I haven't. I've heard of it, but
okay. It's that movie is really more of a comedy. Like that.
This one's pretty funny.
Oh yeah, no, I agree, but
Matthew Lillard does never disappoint, man.
I agree, and I would actually have to say before I even jump into this movie that Matthew Lillard definitely was probably the strongest element of this movie.
Oh yeah, he kills it.
Yeah. but pretty much it's an. Oh, go on.
Like even in that fucking Dungeons and Dragons movie, it was the best part of it.
Yeah.
Or whatever that was, the not Jason Statham thing. Like, I wish he was in more shit instead of just voicing Shaggy. He needs to come back. He needs to come back to acting.
Yeah, it's in the Name of the King, a Dungeon Siege Tale. Yeah, he was definitely the highlight. I agree.
Yep.
Actually, he was probably the only good thing about that movie. But I digress. Anyway, so Dead Man's Curve it's kind of another one of those like 90s horror. Well, actually, I shouldn't even call it a horror movie, but it's another one of those sort
Thriller.
of teen thrillers, quote unquote teen, and about it's based on the urban legend that some people have sort of mentioned here and there about this idea of like, if your roommate commits suicide, then you automatically are given a 4.0 grade average for the semester. And that's basically the same sort of thing that Dead Man on Campus is about, is like these characters deciding to exploit that idea. But this movie does it in kind of a different way. The plot pretty much revolves around this group of very psychotic friends, I must say, who one of their roommates is this gentleman, I think Rand is his name, I believe.
Yeah.
Who they decide is enough of an asshole that they can figure out a way to kill him and make it look like a suicide.
And he is an asshole too. Totally. He's like, Jesus.
Yeah.
They kind of all are. I didn't like any of them.
I like Matthew Lillard's character.
Yeah.
In the rooting for the bad guy kind of way, like, the Tony Soprano or Walter White. I was like, yeah, he's an asshole, but I want to see him come out. I don't care if he dies or comes out alive. I want to see more of him.
Yeah, I would actually have to agree. Like, Matthew Lillard's, he plays this character Tim, who is kind of like he's kind of like the brains behind this whole sort of conspiracy to kill off this roommate, and his character is so psychotic and so demented that in some ways he's actually the most fascinating character, because he's the one that we end up kind of spending the most time with. And he's a character who strangely seems to be everywhere, seems to somehow know everything, and somehow always has a way of manipulating every single situation or every single piece of information that he knows to his advantage, whether it be through manipulation or lies or betrayal or misleading a particular character or whatever. And his character pretty much does that consistently from beginning to end. So that makes him pretty interesting to watch, because you don't really ever know what he's capable of. However, the problem with this, though, is that it kind of brings up the question, why are these people spending around him? Like, why are they spending time with him? And why are they friends with him? Because it seems to me that everybody knows that he's something of a psychopath. But at the same time, that's also kind of why these characters are relying on him, too, in a certain way. So it's an interesting character, because he has all the power.
I gather what I got from it is that he is, even though he's a little psycho, he's charming. He's charming as hell. He can play off some of the assholey shit he does as jokes, and they're like, "Oh, that Tim, okay, ha ha ha, you got me."
Yeah, like, and eventually you actually do learn a lot. Like, you actually learn more about him than you do the other characters. You sort of get to realize that he's somebody who is essentially disillusioned because he's been kind of granted everything, and therefore like he feels like a disconnect, and rather than try and figure out or maneuver that problem, he instead sort of has kind of been brought to a place where he does the opposite, and instead he sort of just retaliates against everyone and sort of lives his life based on mostly nothing but extremes, as far as like how far can he take these things, like how far can he push these situations to the point where he is non-complicit. And so that's kind of what the film is sort of like a balancing act. And so the plot him and the actor, I forget what Chris, I think his character's the other character's name is, or something like that. And he's played by the dad from 1 Hour Photo. So he is involved in this school as which I forget which school it is, but his goal is to get into Harvard, from what I understand. And he wants to kind of pursue a business degree, but he's already flunking in his first semester. He's already like not really pulling it off. And so then
he's not even flunking. He just got 1 B+.
Oh, okay.
And he got waitlisted.
Wow. Okay. So then it kind of makes the characters even more pathetic.
Yeah.
Because I guess I missed that detail, because it's like, wow, you know, because up until that point, it's like, okay, well, I guess they want to get this done for a reason. But if that's all it is, then it's like, well, damn, you know, like you're not. Then basically, it just comes down to these characters being completely impatient.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so he so his character is, of course, like a bit of a. What irritated me the most about his character is his sort of insistence on not really acting. Period. Like he's kind of an inactive person. He's very passive. And kind of just lets everybody else do everything. So he kind of annoyed the shit out, and it kind of made me hate him like almost immediately, actually.
Yep.
And at the beginning of the movie, during the opening credits, he's talking to the school therapist about like, what are some signs that a person is sad or depressed or whatever. And of course, you know, they got to throw in a Hanson joke, because Hanson was popular in the 90s. You know, he goes to the record store and he's like, maybe my roommate would buy this kind of album. And Matthew Lillard says, he's suicidal, right? That's what he's supposed to be. He's not supposed to be like a school shooter, which of course he's like implying that somebody who listens to Hanson is a school shooter, which I thought was, you know, kind of funny. But so let's see. So he goes to the record. He asks her, and she says like, "Oh, The Cure and what was it, like the Smiths or something like that?"
Yeah.
I think that was one of them. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he goes to the record store to get some CD. Oh, and Susanna Vega. That was the other one. And he goes to the record store to get these CDs, and the lady at the counter says, "Oh, we have a sale on Joy Division." You know, so there's some funny gags there. And she also says like movies from Switzerland and, you know, old period pieces and stuff. Like, so basically, like the beginning of the movie, they're trying to kind of do the big setup, you know, to make it seem like the circumstances behind this guy's suicide are just right, you know. And the guy who they are going to have, the Rand character who they're going to, you know, set up to make it look like he committed suicide, is dating this exchange student from, what was it, France or Canada?
Canada.
Yeah, Canada. Okay, yeah. And early on in the movie, it's revealed that she's pregnant.
And I didn't believe it at all, because he said part 1 complete right when she said, and when the whole pregnancy thing happens, like, oh, so she's not going to be pregnant. Spoiler, she wasn't.
Yeah. Although I was confused by that, because like they said, okay, so, well, I'll get into that later, but you know, there's this whole thing where she appears to be pregnant at the beginning of the movie, and she talks to Felicity. I don't remember the actual actor's name.
Carrie Russell.
Oh yeah, that was it. Okay, yeah, Carrie Russell, who's really, actually, I think she's really creepy in this movie too. But anyway, whatever. So she's kind of talking to her about this whole like pregnancy thing or whatever, and she also talks to Matthew Lillard's character about it as well. And so that sort of, you know, it gives him more power to kind of use against this guy. Yeah. And there's this eerie scene where they play Russian roulette, only instead of using a gun, they use, you know, they're just drinking. And that's kind of what leads to sort of like a spiraling effect where his girlfriend reveals that she's pregnant, and then he quickly finds out that Carrie Russ, I'll just call her Felicity. He quickly finds out that Felicity and Tim, Matthew Lillard's character, already knew about it, And so that leads him over off to this isolated location where
I
there's
mean,
a
they're
cliff.
there often, I guess a drinking
Yeah.
spot. Because then earlier there were a bunch of hoodlums drinking with that, and then like the security guard, comedy relief guy shows up and calls them out and shit.
Yeah, and of course there's like a moment where he's like looking out on the cliffside, which I guess is in a way a little bit of a foreshadowing of what happens at the end. But it's the type of detail that I think most people watching for the first time probably won't notice. But anyway, so he heads there. Chris and Tim show up. There's this whole situation where he's like, "Oh, well, I do love her, so maybe I shouldn't give up on her just yet," and all this stuff, because he fucks off at the party after punching the Chris character, because things start getting heated between him and his girlfriend. So Chris, of course, steps in to try and get keep the situation, or however you put it. And he gets punched, so that all doesn't go well so well. So then Matthew Lillard gives him a drink, and I guess he claims that it's rat poison, that he's gonna like die or whatever. And of course it makes it seem like they're gonna like be this kind of like like he poisoned himself or something. And then he pushes him off the cliff, and
Which we don't see.
It happens all off screen,
Yep.
which when I'm watching it and I'm like, okay, well, there has to be a reason why they're not showing it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because right before it too, the funny line, like Chris Lillard going ham as he does. He had like a rock, and he's like, "Let me bash his face, and just to be sure." And then the Chris character turns around, and then everyone's gone, and the dude's supposedly off the cliff.
Yeah, which is like, okay. And they leave a suicide note in some location nearby as well, which is of course what implicates him to have committed suicide. So after that,
which also I was like, oh, they're being real sloppy here, leaving. I don't see them like cleaning the butt. Maybe they did clean the bottle for fingerprints and stuff, but they left a lot of trash around in their own evidence and stuff. I don't know if they could take. I'm sure they could take fingerprints in 97, 8, whenever.
Probably, 1998, I think it was. Yeah. Although I get the impression that it was filmed earlier than 1998. Like I think 1998 was when the film was finally edited and fully-ized and all that stuff and completed, and then put in released at whatever festivals or whatever. I think 1998 was the release date, but I can't help but feel like the movie was probably filmed like over a period of time, like in 1997. It just had that vibe. I don't know. But okay, so of course, so it appears that Rand has committed suicide. His girlfriend, of course, feels really guilty about it, and Matthew Lillard's character doesn't really help her out all that much with the situation, which of course eventually, leads to her committing suicide.
Which I don't get.
Well, what confuses me is that, did she take abortion pills before that?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So that's why I'm confused, is why she killed herself, because in the end we see a flashback of the night that Carrie Russell was talking to her, and that same night they just took the abortion pills. So and the cops said, "Oh, we found the body. She wasn't pregnant." So why did she kill herself?
I guess because she felt guilty about Rand's death, and I guess Matthew Lillard's character ended up triggering her enough that the guilt was too much, and then she killed herself. So yeah, I mean, like we said, all the characters suck. I mean, there's really no redeeming characters in this movie whatsoever.
I was like enjoying this up until this part, and then it just was all downhill pretty much from here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is a shame, because I actually, like you said, I was kind of into it too at first, you know, and there's even a pretty cool use of the Bela Lugosi's Dead song, which is one of the most important rock songs of all time, you know. So like the movie did have some good things going for it, and the performances weren't bad either. I'll say. But after this part, the film mostly just kind of becomes about Matthew Lillard's character, and how screwed up he is, and how the other characters are going to somehow maneuver that. And of course, there's the whole thing where the school does talk to Chris and Tim about the situation, because Rand was their roommate, and you know, Matthew Lillard's character Tim goes through this whole guilt thing, and at one point he even pukes after hearing that they didn't find the body, which of course you find out later has to do with the fact that he is really anxious about the fact that he's going to get caught, which was kind of a neat little detail, but of course, you know, it's not really enough once you finally
ultimately it doesn't make sense either at the end.
Yeah, it's true.
But maybe it's just good acting. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, we'll get to the end, you know, because I have a lot of qualms about that. But let's see. Then then as if all this shit isn't enough, then you got these detectives who, I don't know what they were trying to go for with these guys.
Like one that's like a mafia boss.
Yeah.
Fucking cigar everywhere. Like,
yeah, and there was a funny scene. They were like talking to the principal who was smoking a pipe, and the one officer was always smoking a cigar, and he said, "Can I light this? Can I smoke in here?" And the principal's like, "No, I'd rather you not," even though he's smoking a pipe.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they were funny, but it just, they didn't seem to, it felt like it felt like they belonged in a different movie, though. Like, it felt like they were characters from like a 70s movie or something.
At one point, the security guard caught up with him, and the security guard had fucking nunchucks for.
Yeah,
I laughed so hard at that. That was so funny.
Yeah, that I laughed too. Like, there were a lot of things about it that kind of made me laugh. Actually, like, I will give the movie credit that about I didn't get. I was entertained. Like, I still was sort of interested enough to see like where it would lead and what was going on, that I didn't zone out, or it's definitely not the type of movie that'll make you like zone out a whole lot, because every scene really is pretty important. But you got to deal with a lot of weird shit though, like with these cops and these investigators and these college professors that are surprisingly nonchalant about
the college psych is dumb as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, there was a point where she said she was talking to a guy, one of them, I forget which, it must have been just that Chris guy, and he was like, oh, you know, she was explaining kind of, she didn't say doctor-patient confidentiality, but like he's like, so hypothetically, if I was to want to make a plot to murder the president, you couldn't do anything? And she said nope, but that's completely false. For the psychiatrist, if you have plans to harm yourself or anyone else, she is by law has to go to the police. So
yeah,
she's full of shit.
And furthermore, I think she's even present. She even eavesdrops on a conversation where there's details that could very easily implicate these characters.
Yes. Yeah.
But then when she shows up later, she's totally clueless, and it's like, okay, I guess she's just an idiot. Like,
or at least, like, I thought, oh, is she somehow in on this shit now? But she isn't really. She's just kind of dumb, I think. I guess, I don't know.
I guess so. Yeah. Although there are some pretty funny. I mean, it was a 90s thriller, 90s teen thriller. So there are some fun little self-aware little gags here and there in the screenplay, kind of like Scream and stuff like that. Like,
which by the way, Scream, you think Lillard got this role from Scream? Because he's playing like a crazy guy, same as he did in it.
I think so. I think the person who made this saw him in Scream and thought, like, okay, that intensity, like,
it has to be.
Yeah, like that could be really useful here. And actually, it, you know, he's utilized pretty effectively, because like Matthew Lillard, it's interesting because he's got a way of being really charismatic, and yet at the same time, he's got these dead eyes that are pretty creepy, actually. Like in this movie, there's these scenes where he's giving these intense monologues about like how
Real good
depressed he
ones
is and
too.
stuff. Yeah. And it's pretty convincing, and you just look at his eyes, and there is a certain emptiness to him that makes his character pretty believable. And
Yeah,
so
I really liked that one monologue he had about, because there was a monologue where earlier where he was telling a story about the first dude they killed, where he brought a hooker to prom, but
Yeah.
and whatever, but he revealed that it was actually him that brought a hooker to the prom. And it was I thought it was a really, because it was a nice long shot monologue, and it had like a light over it, like it was an interrogation scene, and Chris was the cop over on the side, and like thought that was really well shot for a shitty movie.
It really was. And also like it also sort of deepened the character a lot too, because the character was telling the story as if it was like a funny story, like the other characters were going to laugh at it, but he's the only one who finds the story funny. He's the only character in the room who finds the story to happen to be even slightly humorous or witty. And then later on, when you find out that he was the person who did that, it sort of it makes the implication make a lot more sense, because it's him sort of reaching out to find some way to relate to others, but he's so twisted and lost and sick in his own head that he can't do it. He's just, he's a sociopath and has no way of connecting to others. And so in that scene, it's almost like his attempt to try to connect to others. So it's really disturbing in a way. So yeah, definitely like mad props to Matthew Lillard for his character in this film and his role. It's just a shame that there's so much other sort of script bullshit that, like, okay, so eventually he sort of semi seduces the Felicity character. Although, so I don't know, what was her deal, honestly, because like it's clear that she didn't like him. So I didn't really understand like why I understand that like she chose to drink with him and all this stuff, and so he was kind of like manipulating her into this situation, and then Chris of course was like hiding in the closet and saw that he was trying to like get with his girlfriend, and then he even ended up witnessing her like performing oral sex on him. But I didn't really understand her motivation, I must be honest. Like,
I don't know why she was in the whole thing either.
Yeah. And also I'm also confused as to like how much she had to do with sort of what happened at the end, because on one hand she seems sort of complicit, but then on the other hand she also seemed kind of confused too. So I don't know, her character really was just weird to me. I really didn't understand her. But eventually eventually it all builds up to this climax where, and I'm not exactly sure how it happens, but eventually,
before the climax, I do want to, the interrogation scene too, with the two cops in the room. I loved how Matthew Lillard was just throwing the Chris character under the bus.
Yeah.
He was like, but weren't you, you fought with him, and then you went over like what, a minute, two, how long? Like he just kept needling his buddy that he was in with, trying to throw him under the bus, and then it's like, oh, I got class. Can you cops, drive me back? And then he was like, oh yeah, I'm on a first name basis with the cops. Jerry likes, I don't know, popcorn or whatever the fuck he said. He's like, oh shit. So that's kind of why I think that people were going along with it, was because he was, yes, a psycho, but charismatic and
yeah.
I
guess that makes sense.
But yeah, to the end.
I think, I was so confused because at this point, Matthew Lillard's character has pretty much stabbed everybody in the back. But then at the end, it's revealed that, and okay, so these twist endings, man, like, and I get it.
It was so funny.
Came out like, It came out around around the same time as movies as like Wild Things and Reindeer Games, where suddenly there's all these twists that escalate so fast and happen so rapidly that the movie kind of descends into a level of self-parody. And this movie, like, it really was pretty funny actually, because so it turned out that Rand wasn't dead.
Yep.
We already knew he didn't commit suicide, but it turned out he wasn't dead. But that he was actually planning on committing suicide. But okay, actually, I'm not even really sure how to explain. Could you do it for me, please?
Yep. Okay. So what happened was they were going to do this whole thing with Rand, but it was Chris's idea, and he was working with his girlfriend against Matthew Lillard the entire time. And then they they have an idea to record Matthew Lillard confessing, which was that, you know, light lamp scene with him saying the hooker stuff. And he was like, oh, got you on tape or whatever, got you cornered. And then the girlfriend turns around, goes over to Lillard like, nope, I was working with him. And so now Chris is on like his back toe saying, wait, what? Another, like, because I wrote down Chris double crossed. And then I wrote, oh, there's a triple cross because we find out that the dude's back alive. And then I write, wait, is there a quadruple cross? Because now they turn it around on Matthew Lillard again. Everyone's like, you're an asshole, Matthew Lillard.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you get confused at the very last 5 minutes. There's a bit too many double crosses.
Yeah, and then there's like this whole other monologue where he's talking to the therapist, and I'm like, oh god, not this lady again, you know.
Yeah.
And he's talking to her about like, oh, I was gonna do it, because I had nothing to live for. But then I thought, like, wait a minute, or I don't even remember what he said, but it was like the funniest thing.
So try to make a little clearer. So it was first the girlfriend pretended to work with Chris with the recorder, because she put 2 and 2 together, because she was like, Tim implied that you and him had a pact to kill him, isn't that true? And he's like, yeah. And then he tried to seduce me, so he's trying to clearly frame you, which was like logical conclusions that you would only jump to if you had more info.
Yeah.
So she was apparently working with Matthew. No, she was working with her boyfriend to implicate Matthew Lillard. But then once you think, oh, they got him, no, she was actually working with Matthew Lillard the whole time to double cross.
And so now I'm kind of trying to figure out, like, was she the villain?
I don't think so. I don't think she knew what the fuck was going on at the end, because
I guess
like because like once the guy came back, she kind of just stood in the background. I was like, what the fuck's going on here now? Because then the guy comes back, and then they turn it all back on to Matthew Lillard again. And then you're like, okay. And she's just still standing back looking confused. I don't think she got like halfway through it like as well as we did.
And then she just went with it and moved on, basically. Like
and they was because there was they put the suicide note, Matthew Lillard pushed him off, and then they showed her that we got your note too if you don't comply with us. And then so she wasn't in the full fucking loop either.
I guess not. So they kill Matthew Lillard, make it look like a suicide. They go back to the school. The school's like, oh yeah, the 4.0, like we'll allow you that. And then it's like, no, Rand and I discussed it. We'll be fine. We don't need that. But Carrie Wurr, on the other hand, Felicity does
she?
Which is like,
how does she even get?
Because her roommate committed suicide. Which. And I still don't even know how to feel about that character, really, because she pretty much lies to everybody and then feels guilty, commits suicide, and then somehow that's supposed to mean that Felicity character was affected. I don't know. It just seems sort of random, but whatever. That's Dead Man's Curve. Yeah, it didn't really have much of a morality lesson. Not that I would expect that from this type of movie. I don't know. I mean, I was entertained by it. I wouldn't say it was horrible. It's just it wasn't exactly. I don't know. It's a pretty silly '90s movie that probably thinks it's smarter than it is. I mean, some of the dialogue is pretty funny. Like, I liked the part at the beginning where the therapist is like, "Oh yeah, one more thing. If he watches movies by first-time writer director, that's a bad sign because those are always the worst." And then it shows written and directed by who I forget what the director's name is. Dan Rosen, which was a little bit of a cheat because he actually wrote that movie, The Last Supper. So this actually wasn't the first movie he had written, but it was the first movie he directed. So I guess, yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense. And then there was another line, yeah. And actually, The Last Supper is actually a pretty interesting movie too, kind of in the same way that this is. Like, I kind of think of that as being sort of a precursor to that recent Hunt movie. And then there was another line. Another line that I thought was really funny, where the campus police guy, he's like, "I got no jurisdiction. I can't talk to you. I can't charge you. I can't accuse you of anything. In other words, I'm just a cop." Which is like, okay, yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd probably give it like maybe like, I don't know, 2 or 3 depending on what mood I'm in. Like, wasn't really that good, but
Yeah.
it wasn't that bad either.
Yeah, I gave it a 2.
Yeah.
I'd give it a 2.5 just from solely for Matthew Lillard because the plot is kind of dumb in general.
Yeah.
I was like, is this really the whole, like, that wouldn't work, I don't think.
Yeah.
Ever. But
I would
Matthew Lillard is just amazing in it.
I would give it, yeah, for sure I'd say he really gives the film a lot of power and momentum. He's actually probably what makes the movie the like, he's really the most interesting thing, and he's probably the most compelling thing about it. So I'd say, like, if you're gonna see it for the good acting, the occasionally clever dialogue, and the I mean, I like the dark humor. I thought that there were enough like really gut wrenching sort of gags here and there that made it a lot more fun. Subject matter is a little bit unsavory, but I don't know, whatever. I mean, if you've seen Dead Man on Campus, this movie isn't really that much worse. It's definitely much more lower budget than that movie was. So if you have like a low tolerance for like a low budget movie, then I don't know, maybe this won't be your thing, but I'm glad I saw it. So.
Speaking of low budget movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess this is your choice now.
Yep. So I chose, well, it was random if you saw the episode where we picked this.
I forget.
Oh, yeah,
we had so many special surprise episodes that this was a long time ago we chose these.
Yeah.
But it is Dead Man's Hand, or Haunted Casino, or Paranormal Casino.
And then also, isn't there like the legend of Gangster Ralph or something like that?
Yeah, or and then like Casino of the Damned or something.
Oh my god!
It's like the subtitle, like at least on the DVD or something.
Yeah.
And it is a Full Moon production, directed by Charles Band.
Yes.
So, kind of know what you're getting into there.
Yep. Shittier frame rates, cheaper. Probably the type of movie that's going to take place in either 1 or 2 locations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you guys did you guys both watch it on Tubi?
Yes.
I did.
Was it like
Super tiny, yeah.
super tiny on your screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, is it just my TV or what?
No, I noticed that too.
It was like full frame, but then they put the widescreen bars on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was non-anamorphic to the extreme.
Yeah, it was bad. Even the DVD is like that.
Yeah.
I put in the DVD, it did that. I was like, oh fuck. Let me see what it looks like on Tubi. Same shit.
Yeah. Okay, well then I guess that means that it was maybe it wasn't shot that way, but when they transferred it, they decided to not even bother to transfer it fully, I suppose. You know?
Yeah, it's full moon. They don't give a shit.
Yeah, it's like whatever, you'll watch it anyway. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. I guess I'll just read the plot summary.
Go for it.
It's short. I just want to say that nothing happens in this movie for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I'd say the majority of this movie is pretty much people with flashlights wandering around dark. I don't even really want to call it a building. It's really more of a large room.
Yeah.
With some cobwebs here and there.
So many
and,
here and there, everywhere.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Half the budget was cobwebs.
Yeah. And
the slot
mess.
machines just look like ATMs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, yeah, definitely on the cheap side for damn sure.
All right. After inheriting a casino from his dead uncle, Matthew Dragna, his girlfriend JJ, and a group of friends take a road trip to the outskirts of Las Vegas, where they find the rundown and mysterious casino. But the trip takes a frightening turn when the kids discover that the casino is haunted by the ghosts of Vegas mobsters Roy the Word Donahue and his goon Gil Wachetta, which is Sid Haig and Michael Berryman, which I'm sure is 90% of the budget right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The rest cobwebs.
Yep.
Yeah.
And of course they were billed as starring. So
Yeah. And they only appear in not even 5 minutes, honestly. Like they're in maybe 2 to 3 scenes. And then they're also on a newspaper.
Yeah, which I'm pretty sure the Sid Haig picture was from one of Rob Zombie's movies.
I think so, yeah. Like I'm pretty sure because he didn't look any different in that picture that he did in like Devil's Rejects.
Yeah. Yeah, haunted by the Vegas mobsters looking to settle a score. Matthew and JJ must fight for their very souls as the ghost seeks their gruesome vengeance. And in the vein of The Shining, this horrifying tale builds to a bloody and surprising climax.
What?
Wait, really?
They just compared it to The Shining in this.
Okay then. No. No, but okay.
I mean little bit, but
okay, there's one scene that is almost like The Shining. The scene where Shelley Duvall walks into the room and there's all those skeletons everywhere and she starts flipping out and runs away. It all like the way that scene looks. I mean, that scene looked a hell of a lot better, but I could see maybe with this film, like Charles Band, when he was making this movie, he's like, all right, we only have a day or two. Let's make this room look almost like as much like that one room in The Shining as possible. But we only have about 10 minutes to do it. So hurry the fuck up.
Or the ghost card dealer, kind of like the ghost bartender.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's about it, really. I get, yeah, actually, that you're right. The bartender character, I guess, is kind of like the Shining ghost in a way. Although in this movie, I guess he's more of a character. I guess.
Yeah. I guess.
Yeah.
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 Go
on.
Once the ghosts show up, they kill the main character's friends, and that's kind of it.
Yeah. Yeah, they
And-
wear some really, really stupid looking masks.
Oh yeah, there's like that one like the fat dealer.
Yeah.
They like did the like a ginger dead man puppet.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's what it reminded me of.
And then from the side, it looked nothing like the puppet that they showed in the previous shot.
Yeah, the continuity was non-existent. Although gingerbread man, I don't want to let ginger dead man, I should say, off the hook, too fast, because I mean that movie was mostly just a bunch of people wandering around a bakery and then getting killed by a cookie.
Yep.
So this
Same movie, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. Although I would say that this wasn't even really as good as that, because so with Ginger Dead Man blew its wad in the first scene. Gary Busey shows up, acts confused like he always does, and then he's gone throughout the rest of the movie except for his voice, maybe. This movie, you already know that Sid Haig and Michael Berryman are going to be in it because their names are in the cast list at the beginning. So you're kind of just waiting for them to show up, and then they show up and they don't really do much. Like,
Yeah,
they're
looking for silver,
yeah,
and that's why they're killing off their friends.
yeah, because they don't want these people to get the silver. Although it's not like ghosts can really do much with silver anyway. But
Yeah.
And I will say, in the 8 shots that Michael Berryman and Sid Haig appear in this movie, they make the most of it. But would you say it's enough to save this movie?
No.
Yeah, I would agree. Probably the most interesting aspect of this entire film is a character who has erectile dysfunction.
Yeah. Yeah, there's that.
Yeah. And he looks kind of like Chris Lemche, which was kind of funny. It's like, oh, is Chris Lemche, doing full moon movies now? But then I looked up the cast list and I'm like, no, I guess not. Oh well.
Yeah. I don't got much else to say. They eventually find the silver behind a mirror.
Yeah. And then the main character has to play a card game at one point.
Yeah, which he loses, and then he was like, "Yeah, whatever." Sid Haig's just like, whatever, let him go."
Yeah, fuck it.
Oh, he wins that one. The other two. There's 2 games played.
Yeah.
The first one was with like the stoner character. He loses, gets his arm chopped off and dies. And then the nerd character plays the same game, gets her arm chopped off and dies. But they reveal that they're cheating because she's a card counter and says, You already played that card. This is a 1 card 52 deck game. And he's like, yeah. And then his name is whatever mob name, The Word, because he gives him his word all the time. He gives people his word and doesn't go back down. So the main character is like, so give me your word you're not gonna cheat. And he's like, okay. And they play a completely different game, which doesn't make sense in this context, because blackjack at least makes sense with you play this one hand, you die.
Yeah.
They were playing a Texas Hold'em, I believe, or some type of different game where you have multiple rounds and ante up, and you don't play against the dealer. So it's like you're just kind of why don't you just play another goddamn round of blackjack? But they did it. They did it for the title's sake, because the hand he gets was 2 aces, 2 eights, which is called the dead man's hand, because that's what Wyatt Earp got when he was shot in the poker game he died in.
Oh, that's interesting.
I wasn't paying that much attention.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I didn't realize
I could see
that. But
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you want to watch a movie about people staring at cobwebs for 90 minutes.
Yeah. And there was this weird, like, the nerd girl was like lesbian too. for
Hmm.
some reason, because the rocker, because there was a rock star character who died by playing roulette because
Yeah.
the ginger dead man cheated. But he was, taking photos for her website, and the nerd girl was, perving on the pictures, and she was like, she asked for, a free subscription to her website, and then the girl said, "Oh, I can do you one better." And then I was like, "Oh, are they gonna les out?" No.
Nope.
What is
Sorry.
one better? We never know what the one better is because it just goes back to normal. Like they don't
Probably,
even mention that the nerd was, a lesbian anymore or anything at all.
Yeah.
So, like,
cut scene,
dropped.
maybe.
yeah, it must have been a cutscene.
Maybe. I mean, there's no nudity.
They
There's
didn't, because
barely
they
any-
didn't even kiss even. Like I was like, oh,
Yeah.
maybe she'll just get a kiss or something, but no, just cut it right there.
Nope.
I want to know what the
nudity.
one better is.
No nudity, no sex, barely any gore. Not exactly an ideal, movie to watch if you're looking forward to like the real like crazy stuff.
There was like a skeleton with
Slot machine eyes. Yeah,
That was kind of cool. I like that.
it looked like
all right.
shit, but yeah, it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you
I
got
mean, I liked
nothing
it.
else.
Yeah,
Yeah, I liked it for the idea more than I liked it for
Yeah.
the end result.
Yeah.
This is a movie. This is an idea movie. This is a movie where they set the ideas down. They set the blueprint. Now somebody actually has to take these ideas and make a good movie out of it.
Yep.
This isn't it. This is the rough draft. So Charles Band, if you can somehow get a bigger budget, get better locations, that's another thing. Okay, haunted casino, you think lights, you think slot machines, you think cool cards, weird stuff, colors, shapes, posters. No, just a dusty looking room with cobwebs everywhere in this. And that's really the most you get. The poster is more colorful than the movie.
Yep.
All the posters.
Yeah.
And also all the titles are sort of a little too vague. There's not a whole lot of paranormal stuff that happens in this movie.
I mean, there's ghosts. That's paranormal, right?
Yeah, but it would have been cool to see the ghosts actually do something really like badass. And like that's another problem I have with this movie is that the ghosts don't really act very ghostly. Like they mostly just act like Sid Haig and Michael Berryman. Like they do in all the other movies. Sid Haig doesn't really stretch his acting chops all that much, although he didn't really need to at that point in his career.
He knew what he was doing.
Exactly. And Michael Berryman, same way. I mean, same thing. His face really says it all. He doesn't even need to act, because his face does the acting. Just look at Weird Science. I mean, that really says it all. But yeah, Dead Man's Hand, aka Haunted Casino, aka Paranormal Casino, aka The Legend of whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a movie.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Give it a 1.
Okay.
Just for Sid Haig and Michael Berryman, pretty much.
Yeah. That's about it, really. Yeah, same 1.
I'll give it a half for them.
Yeah.
And the cobwebs. Yeah.
The cobwebs, of course.
Yeah, the cobwebs weren't the worst I've ever seen. I've seen some pretty shitty looking cobwebs in some movies before, and the cobwebs in this movie weren't bad. Some of them looked a little too like small. Like it's like, okay, this is supposed to be a casino that hasn't been occupied for a number of years, and like that's all you got. But I don't know. Some of the cobwebs looked okay. So,
yep.
Yeah. Okay, and I guess that's really all that needs to be said about the Dead Man's Hand. The title's another Dead Man title. So
yeah.
So.
Yep.
All right. So, yeah, that was Dead Man's Hand, and Now we shall discuss the choice that you picked, Nick.
Yes, so it is 2017's Wish Upon.
Wow.
Right? And exciting. So this is the movie is a dead paw what's it called? The monkey paw monkey paw situation. Which, if you know you're not familiar with the term, is you have a genie, a lamp, or whatever that you get to make a wish, and it grants your wish, but in so something bad occurs.
Yeah.
And I'd say that they tried kind of with the concept, but they missed the mark, because what a monkey paw, the real situation of a monkey paw is the wish fulfillment is directly correlated to the bad thing that happens, which none of these wishes are in that situation. So like this was, and the term comes from a short story in 1902, and I'll do a brief synopsis since I looked it up right before we started recording. It's a family, husband, wife, son. They get this monkey paw, like a literal petrified monkey paw with instructions that it gives you 3 wishes. I don't know if it had, because I didn't read it, but I don't know if it had like the stipulation of something bad will happen. But at first they don't believe it, so they just wish for $200 was their first wish. And this is, of course, 1902, so that's probably a lot of money.
Yeah.
But the next day, the son, he goes to work and at a factory type job and is killed. And then like the factory says, it wasn't our fault, but here's $200 to the father. And he's like, oh shit, they're grieving and whatnot. So he wishes that his son, like his second wish, son comes back to life, which he just comes out kind of decomposed and freaky looking and all that kind of shit, zombie type, whatever. So skipping forward a little, I don't know if the zombies start attacking or something, but like the husband's at home with the monkey paw, the wife's outside trying to get in, knocking on the door. The husband thinks that it's his son, and he's like, no, this isn't the son, it's something else, the demon, whatever. So he wishes, his third wish was for the knocking to stop, and it does. And then his wife is disappeared. And that's, so that these are all correlated to the wishes, the bad things that happen. But like for the first wish, spoiler, is that she wishes for like the popular girl, that she's a nerd, like she's the nerd type character that no one likes. She gets picked on by this popular girl. She wishes for her to rot, not like she says it in like, the general terms, like, I wish she would rot, kind of,
Yeah, I wish she would just go and rot.
Yeah, but the consequence is that her dog dies. It had nothing to do with the whole situation of the popular girl. So like, there's no connection.
Yeah. And also there's no monkey's paw either.
Yeah, that too. But it's a general term at this point, because they do these kind of things in general, I think, in some stories that aren't creative, but like, so
the movie kind of reminded me almost like a cross between like Final Destination.
I wrote down this is Final Destination vibes for sure.
Yeah, Final Destination and that episode of Goosebumps where that girl has to be careful what she wishes for. I think it's just called "Be Careful What You Wish For." It kind of reminded me of that too. Like,
Okay, so the plot of the movie is, we first start out, we see the main character as a little girl and her mother. She's a painter. She's throwing something out. We don't know, but it's obvious that it's something important to the plot, and we don't find out until the end. But eventually,
the movie actually spoils itself at the first scene.
It's just so confusing in general. Like, what the fuck is? But anyway,
oh my God.
So like the little girl's just riding her bike around town. She returns and sees her mother hang herself.
Oh my god. Okay, before you go on, can I just say, I thought Malignant was going to be the funniest movie I saw all year until I saw this. Like, this movie had me rolling on the floor. Like, this is
That's
like
hilarious.
legitimately one of the funniest fucking movies I've ever seen in my life, and I'm not even kidding. Like,
That's funny
holy crap! Like,
because I chose this movie a while ago and I listened
Yeah.
to How Did This Get Made, which is, you know,
Okay.
a similar podcast to us, and they covered Malignant.
yeah.
And they briefly mentioned Wish Upon, but it was
Oh,
before.
really?
Yeah, and it was after I chose Wish Upon that I heard that. I was like, oh, huh. So now I kind of know what I'm getting myself into. So
Yeah.
that's funny that you brought that up too.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, I haven't heard that, but that's funny. Yeah. Well, no, like, because like there is a certain, how do I put it? Movies that are just so like off kilter that like you have to laugh because like
Yeah.
you just don't know how else to feel. And this movie definitely did that, because like I just, oh my god, like I like every minute like something struck me as funny in some crazy weird way. And I don't think any of it was intentional. I think the movie was intended to be a very straightforward, serious horror movie, but I don't know, something went wrong along the way.
Yeah,
And I don't know exactly what it was.
That first scene, when she's riding a bike, it's like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, she's got a puppy. It's like all wholesome and happy. And
Yeah.
my first thought is, okay, this is gonna go bad, like, because this is a
Yeah.
horror movie.
It's just weirdly edited, that first scene. Like
Yeah,
with
because
the
it was
lady,
real ominous music too, while it was a
Yeah.
happy-go-lucky shit.
and then like
Yeah.
the lady across the street just seemed weird to me.
Yeah.
I know, it almost reminded me of the opening scene of Blue Velvet, where it's like these beautiful picket fences and this bright sky and these charming neighbors waving to the firemen and stuff. And then a guy suddenly has a stroke while watering his garden, and it's like, uh-oh. And it goes down, and you see the muddy ugliness, the underbelly of the wholesome, existence, the paradise that these people are living. Of course, this movie has far less subtlety.
Yeah. So her father, played by Ryan Philippe, whatever.
I'll just call him Felipe. And he plays a pretty stereotypical Vermonter.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, he looks like a Vermonter.
He wears flannel and he dumpster dives. That's about as Vermont as it gets.
Is he from Vermont?
No.
Okay. But yeah, and he has that scruffy beard for parts of the movie.
Yeah, which made me laugh.
Inconsistencies with that beard too.
Yeah.
There's one major one, but I'll let you know when we get to it because it's hilarious.
Oh god! And Ryan Felipe has he's got like the ultimate baby face, and so to see him have like this beard that's all misshapen and stuff is just hilarious to me.
Yeah.
Like, that's another thing that made me laugh was Ryan Felipe's beards.
Yep.
And he looked like not too much older than the daughter.
Yeah.
Right. I honestly before I thought it was just her brother.
Yeah, me too.
Before she calls him dad, and he only calls her buddy too. So
I know.
Which
kind of made me wonder, like, was the main role intended originally to be like played by a male? I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter, but there was just something peculiar about the way they interacted. Like they didn't really communicate like normal people do, like there's a scene where
kind of understand that, since the mother committed suicide and
that's
probably
true, yeah,
traumatized both of them. But
where was the dad in this flashback scene?
Yeah. that's what I was wondering throughout the whole movie. Like, wait,
dumpster diving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or diving, I mean.
Yeah, but what came first, the chicken or the egg? The suicide or the dumpster diving? We don't know.
Oh yeah, that's true. Maybe he dumpster dives to deal with the trauma of losing his wife. Okay, that's another thing. Why is this movie so judgmental toward dumpster divers? Like, because I know some people who've actually found some really good shit in some dumpsters. I
mean, he did apparently.
Yeah,
He found the the magic box that the monkey paw of the movie, but you get 7 wishes, and it's in Chinese.
Yeah, and it's the box that the mother disposed of, which, of course, like.
Did she though? I don't think she did. She disposed. So she did. I don't think she did.
Oh,
it was a different one.
Oh, it's a different box.
Or maybe she must have. She must have. That must be it. But like,
okay. Well, I mean, these people, they're such slobs. I mean, she left her bike in the front of the house at the beginning of the movie, right? And then it jumps ahead 10 years later, and it's still there.
Yeah, still in the same spot. Yep. There was what I wrote down too is, they're for some reason they're taking Chinese, like high schoolers take Chinese. What the fuck?
I guess in the world of this movie they do.
And then of course the box is Chinese.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's why they're taking Chinese.
Yeah. What were you about to say, Zach?
I was just going to keep going about the bike. It's all right.
Oh yeah. But yeah, okay, so she so her father is a dumpster diver, she's miserable, she goes to school. Oh wait, no, something happens on the way to school, that like she talks to her uncle or whatever, or
yeah, she has like a rich uncle, I guess, that lives down the street. For some reason her dad we don't know about any of the backstory, but her dad doesn't like her or doesn't like them for some reason.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. All he did was talk crap about the uncle. Like every time the uncle gets brought up, he says something shitty, like, "Oh, don't you talk to that fucking asshole," or whatever.
Yeah, we don't know why at all.
And at one point, he like dies this gruesome death where he like slips in a bathtub, which shouldn't be as funny as it is. But this movie is so badly made that it ends up being hilarious. Funny, yeah. And like.
Yeah, he slips, bangs his head, and then tries to get up and smashes his head into the faucet too.
Yeah, and of course there's blood everywhere, and like the water overflows, and then like his first reaction upon finding out that he died this horrible death is, "Oh, good riddance." It's like, wow.
Yeah, and that's anyway. So yeah. I thought.
Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped ahead. I apologize.
Yeah, a bit.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's another little funny scene with the mean girls and her.
Oh yeah.
We bring up smegma.
Oh yeah, she calls her dick cheese or whatever, and then they get into a bitch slapping fight.
Yeah, that was so fucking funny. They just brought smegma up. I was like, oh, that's like.
Yeah, and then the whole lunchroom's like, ooh.
And then she's like, oh, and in case you don't know what smegma is, could you bring it up on your phone? And then she makes her friend look it up on her phone, the dictionary definition. It's like, okay, you're already insulting this girl, and you don't even know like what you're saying. And then she's like, it is a cheese-like substance that appears on male and female genitals and under the foreskin, blah, blah, blah. And then they get into a bitch slapping fight. And then it gets posted on Instagram. Or no, not on Instagram, but iGram or whatever it's called. Like,
yeah, stupid social media knockoffs.
Yeah. Like, oh my God, these people, whoever wrote this movie, like they really, really want to like try to emulate the way teenagers talk.
Yeah,
but they don't do a good job at it.
Yeah, and there was also that app that one of the best friends was playing, which was like a Pokemon Go app.
Yeah.
Where you have to go to a real place in the real world to destroy a monster, and she was obsessed with it. So
there was like Monster Master or whatever it's called.
Yeah, something real
Monster Master Baiter.
Yeah. So her dad gives her the monkey thing. She knows a little bit of Chinese.
Yeah,
she's taking Chinese. All she knows is that there's 7 wishes. That's all she gets out of it.
Yeah, so, this giant music box. It looks like heavier than she is.
Yep. So she wishes that the popular girl rots, and then she, cuts to her rotting, like her foot's all necrotic, and she has like a scar on her face and shit.
Yeah,
so
her face is fucking up and shit, and she's like turning into a skeleton. It's like, oh.
Yep. So when she hears about that, she's like, oh shit. And she it clicks in her brain that, oh, this is crazy. And she so she tries to go to the Chinese teacher, but he's no help because he's like, oh yeah, this is ancient Chinese, I don't know anything about that, take it to a professor. But
yeah.
but there's this, I guess Chinese, trying not to be racist here, but I'm pretty sure it was because his cousin is, he brings up that his cousin is some type of scholar that can help out, and he's also
we may
romantic.
as well, we may as well just say it. I mean, all of the Asian characters in this movie, for whatever reason, know how to speak Chinese, and
Yeah.
I think whoever made this movie, decided that would be kind of a simple way of doing it, but I don't think they really thought twice about that directorial decision, because it comes across as a bit I don't know. It did kind of make me feel a little uncomfortable, I must admit.
Yeah.
Because she looks at the Chinese lettering, and then the first thing she does is run to the closest Asian looking student, and it's like, you know how to read this. It's like, okay.
And it is implied that he has like the hots for her or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of romantic interest there. But yeah, so her dog dies for this wish of the rotting thing, and like if you wanted to monkey paw it up, it would probably be something like, oh, it would be Ebola or something. And when they got into that kerfuffle, she gets Ebola as well, and she starts rotting too. Monkey paw fixed.
Boom.
Not just some random crap that unfortunately happens.
Yeah.
It was a stupid ass jump scare too. She found a dead dog.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Actually,
the rats falling from underneath the deck. They were just eating the dog.
I was gonna say, I normally am really bothered when animals get killed in movies, but that scene I thought was hilarious because she goes down and she's like crawling around in the crawl space, like wondering what's going on, and she's like coming across her dog's corpse. But before she actually sees it, there's a jump scare where literally rats like fall down from the top of the crawl space.
Yep.
And she goes, "Woo!" And she like shrieks, and it's like, oh no.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yep. And the emotional importance is that the dog was given to her by her mother.
Yeah.
So sad.
It is sad, but oh well.
So she, after the rotting thing, I guess she kind of says, wait, is this really work? So she wishes that the boy she's crushing on, which is a popular guy, has a crush on her or falls in love with her, which happens, and
sort of.
Yeah, he gets a little obsessed with her more than that.
He becomes a stalker.
Yes, he stalks her and shit. And the price paid was the uncle death.
Yeah, which is what I spoiled earlier with the stupid bat guy clonking his head on the faucet.
Right.
I just can't get over that. I don't know what it is. There was just something so silly.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on though. Sorry.
And then so she's like, her dad says, "Oh yeah, we're not getting a penny of that stuff. He hates us." So
then she gets all mopey.
So her next wish, the first ones come out pretty fast because she doesn't realize what's going on. So she wishes that her uncle does leave them everything, and he does.
But then you find out later on in the movie that he hasn't paid taxes for 10 years. So they lose the house almost immediately.
Yeah. I mean, that's a plot point though, too, because I'll talk to it when we get to it.
Yeah.
But what's funny with that is they go on a shopping spree too. Like they get a card and she brings her friends on the shopping spree.
It was like a 10-minute scene. Like, cut that shit out of it.
Oh my god, it went on so fucking long. I was like, all right, is this all the movie's gonna be? It's just these stupid idiots shopping. Like,
oh yeah, and one of her friends is Barb from Stranger Things.
Oh, is that really her?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah. Which I appreciated.
Where is she now? I guess we know.
Yeah.
She did wish upon. But I was gonna, I gotta say though, when they moved into the mansion, like nothing really changed. Like the father still dumpster dove, and
Yep.
Actually, in a way, I kind of preferred their previous house, because their previous house, like, it was big enough. It had a porch. It wasn't even that bad. Like, I don't know what they were complaining about. Like,
Yeah.
whatever. Anyway.
And the repercussion for that wish was, the neighbor lady that the one that you mentioned earlier, the creepy one, but I guess she was like because she did say, like foreshadowing, I'll look after her, as in the first scene while she's riding down the street as a kid on a bike. I'll look after her. So it's implied that she was kind of a motherly figure, but like it's a slow scene of her. I hate these scenes where I hate when people put their hand down garbage disposals. I just hate it. I was like,
Yeah.
So she's putting her hand down a garbage disposal.
And the movie makes sure to show a close up of her long ponytail multiple times.
Yep. So
it's like, okay, we know what's gonna happen with the garbage disposal.
At first you think, she's gonna cut her hand off, but no, she gets out fine because something she's cooking turns off the gas or puts out the light, and I don't know, she just turns off the gas, and then she goes back to fixing the thing, and her ponytail gets caught in it, and like just pulls her hair, like it's like you see her skull splitting open, and it snaps her neck basically, which is doesn't make sense, because I figure if your hair gets caught in a garbage disposal, I would hope that those blades would be sharp enough just to cut it off, right?
Well, that's the thing. I actually know somebody. I actually know somebody who got their hair caught in a garbage disposal, and that's exactly what happened. So, like, the scene really didn't really work for me. Actually,
no, it didn't. It was for me at all. Like that would just cut a piece of your hair off. What? Why?
Yeah.
How would it rip your face off? Basically.
Yeah.
Like,
the effect was.
I was like, when the hair went in, I knew something was gonna happen, but I didn't expect the broken neck. Like,
yeah, they went far.
That's how you ended it.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Oh well.
Yep. Music plays, I guess. Then we kind of get the idea that music plays when people are dying.
Yeah, the music box plays. It plays music during the
deaths
time period in which
the deaths are occurring. Yeah. There's a nice little scene of him playing the dad playing the saxophone.
Foreshadowing.
Right. Yeah. There's also a scene where like she's grieving, she's complaining about something, the little girl, and the dad said, it's not your fault, your mom had secrets. Foreshadowing there. Let's see.
Oh yeah, and wasn't there also like a point where she wished for I don't even remember what happened exactly. Like, I remember she wished for her dad. She got really mad at her dad for dumpster diving.
All right, that's after. That's the next. That's the next wish, but there's a little gap between that I'll explain.
Okay.
It's the gap where they go to the cousin's house of the his name is Ryan, the Chinese boy in the film.
Okay, I remember now. Yeah.
So, because so they eventually get to her place, the cousin, and she translate a bunch of it, but not everything. They find out that the music box originates from China. There was this legend of some lady that, during a bubonic plague sweeping through China, she was locked in a trailer car and everyone dies, but she has this music box and she vows to get revenge, and she, comes to power and then eventually overdoses on opium.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Okay, I remember that now. So she has to like decipher the language on the music box, right?
Yeah.
And because it has like some lettering, and eventually she figures out what it is, but like it kind of unfortunately happens after she makes another wish, and so of course she's the next one to go, and she dies in a very Final Destination type of way, which totally could have been prevented, by the way, because she just found out that there, like, when the music plays, there's going to be some kind of blood sacrifice or whatever, and somebody's going to lose their life.
Yeah.
And she tries to communicate with her younger cousin about it. Like, oh shit, this translation is really freaking me out. Oh god. But then she accidentally slips and drops her phone off the balcony. And then she runs in and slips again and accidentally impales herself through the eye, I think it was, or through the chest or something.
Through some piece of artwork, yeah. And the wish that did her in was, I wish my dad was cool.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that was it. Yeah.
And that's when we see him like fully shaven, playing the sax better with a couple of buddies now. There's a piano player and a guitar guy now, and he's like, oh
yeah. He just spontaneously has a jazz band.
Yeah, and like her friends are with her, and like
Barb
she says she's hot, or something like that.
Yeah, that was it. Which is like, you mind if I say something really gross or whatever? And then she like starts macking on the dad, and it's just like, okay, here we go, you know.
Yeah, and then like, yeah, so you know, like, that Ryan guy gets the message. He's suspect because she said there's a blood price.
Yeah.
During this, she is ditching, you know, a normal trope of, you know, mean girl, like a nerdy girl joining the mean girl. She ditches her friends to go hang out with, you know, her new crush and their group of people.
Yeah, because she wishes at one point to be the most popular girl in school or something like that.
Yeah, that's the next wish, which I don't necessarily, I don't know why. Like, I feel like she was slowly gaining popularity by just dating this dude.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
That one lunch scene, he invited her over, and then all the other popular kids just left.
Oh, okay. So maybe she was still a pariah of some sort, I guess. So she just wanted to cement it in, and I wish I was more popular. And then she instantly gets a text from her boyfriend to go to a party.
Yeah. So she's dealing with this creepy stalker boyfriend, which that's the part that reminded me of the Goosebumps episode of being careful what you wish for, because there's a part in that episode where the girl who's like the bully, the main girl, wishes, she like talks to that weird gypsy lady and says, oh, I wish that this girl would like me or whatever, and then she does like her, but then she starts liking her a little bit too much, because then she starts like breaking into her bedroom in the middle of the night while she's trying to go to sleep and all this other shit, and it's like, like, this is like grade A level like stalker shit. That's not good.
So we see a couple, like once we see him in the hiding behind a tree, and then the next time it's after the popular wishes, she actually chases him down, and this is where the beard inconsistency comes in, because Felipe comes out with a full scruffy beard still. Like, what's wrong, what's going on? And it was probably, I think, in the timeline of the movie, the same day later. So he grew a full beard in the same fucking day.
I hate that annoyed the shit out of me. I was like, okay, you know.
Let's see who died for this one.
Okay.
This one,
the girl in the elevator.
The girl. This one took a while. So this. They all go to another party of some sort. I don't know. It's some Burning Man type. They have like I don't fucking know. But she and there's some scavenger hunt. No, wait, is there? Or is she just talking about that game? I don't remember.
Yeah, so there's a scavenger hunt party thing.
Okay, there's a scavenger hunt party. They go to this big ass hotel or building. I don't know if it's a hotel. It has a huge elevator, and at this point, she's confessed to her friends that she thinks that this is like she's killing people with these wishes. And they're pissed that they didn't get anything. But when they were pissed at that, I was like, well, what the fuck? You got a whole shopping spree. What are you talking about? You got nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that annoyed the crap out of me too. You know?
Yeah.
And of course, they do try to add a little bit of suspense eventually, because then they show Ryan Felipe having car trouble.
Like you wonder, oh, who's gonna die? Who's gonna die? Ryan Felipe's on the side of the road, you know, underneath the car, trying to grab a piece that he needs.
That annoyed me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
And it keeps
just
cutting.
go to the other side of the car. Okay.
Yeah, it was like a foot away. He could like have not even. He could have barely risked his fingers grabbing it from the other side, but no, he had to climb all the way under.
Yeah.
And it keeps cutting between him and because her friend wanted to go get this rare monster in that game.
Yeah, so she could become the ultimate fake Pokemon masturbator.
Yeah. So it's cutting between that, her and Ryan Felipe into the car. She's stuck in an elevator. Like, oh, who's gonna die? And then it turns out
as soon as the elevator started malfunctioning, I knew she was gonna die. I was like, all right, here we go. Like, Ryan Felipe is gonna be fine.
Yeah.
You know,
there is like two cars racing, and one hits the tire that is like basically at the same time the elevator drops. The car hits this tire that he blew, and it like bounces and like just misses his head.
That was funny too. Oh my god, that was so fucking funny.
Yeah.
He like does one of those like epic like martial arts dodges. Like,
yeah. So there's still suspense to the last second, but the girl dies from the elevator crash.
Yeah.
Shit, Beth.
Barb.
Let's
just call her Barbara. I don't even give a fuck.
Barb.
She gets mad at her.
Yeah, she gets mad because it's all her fault. This shit is happening. Stop making wishes.
Although that kind of annoyed me too, because she didn't find out that she was even making all these wishes and doing all this stuff until after she'd already made the fifth. At that point, she was on her fifth wish, which was to be the most popular girl in school.
Yeah.
And so she wasn't really justified in being mad at her, you know, because it's not like she told her stop making wishes and then she made another wish. I mean, that did eventually happen, but not until her friend died. So whatever. But anyway.
Yeah. So, okay, there was also one thing I forgot to mention, that when she was with the cousin reading up, she was able to get that you get 7 wishes, but the 7 wish takes the soul of the wishee.
Yeah.
Which it seems that the main character just forgot about the entire time, right? Like as it went one ear out the other.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of debate after the 5th wish. There's like, shit, we got to stop. But she's like,
this is
no,
getting too real.
No, I got 2 wishes left. And then like she still doesn't, it seems to not occur to her that she technically only has 1 wish unless she wants to die. The boy that she's now crushing on, the Ryan, they try and destroy it somehow. They can't burn it, they can't smash it. So she just, I don't know, keeps hiding it.
Yeah. And her friend Barb, as we call her, she's like, did you get rid of it? Did you destroy it? She's like, yes, of course I did. Or she pretends that she did, but then turned out she didn't.
Yeah. And this is also where the boyfriend sneaks in and tries to kill himself.
Yeah.
Just randomly.
Yeah, he like cuts his wrists or whatever. And then you got a funny scene where Barb and her get into a fight, right?
Yeah. When is that?
Like, it happens after she discovers that she didn't actually get rid of the music box.
Yes.
And then she falls down the stairs.
Another stipulation to this box as well, which implies to this thing directly, is that if you sell or lose or something else, if the box just goes out of your possession somehow, all of your wishes previously revert. So she does lose the box somehow. We don't know how until a scene later. So she is kicked out of her house, out of the mansion. The popular girl comes back with a small scar on her face. Everyone hates her again.
The GoFundMe campaign worked.
Yeah. So everything's back to normal. Ish. And then she finds out that Barb took the box because she did show where the box was hiding, and then they get into a fight. She's starting to lose her, like the main girl's starting to lose her mind. Barb gets knocked down the stairs. The Ryan, they're all arguing with her, like, "Why? What are you doing? This is crazy.
Yeah.
You're acting nuts. Stop
Yeah.
it!" And then she just books it out of the school, goes home.
Yeah, she's all distraught.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is actually her birthday too. That this is when the day that she knocked her friend down the stairs is her birthday. Which leads into the 6th after she gets it back from Barb, goes home, leads to the 6th wish, which gets a little bit like, oh, well, now you're just throwing plot holes out. Like there's easy ways to probably avoid it. As long as you only like keep to 3 wishes, you can make the rest of your wishes negate everything else that happened.
Yeah.
Or that would happen because she wishes, well, I guess that's her last wish would be kind of, but she wishes her mom never died. And she, wakes up the next morning, her mom's there. She has 2 younger sisters now.
Oh, she doesn't even wake up. Actually, she just wishes it, and then suddenly all the lights in the house start to.
That's right. Like her dad at first.
Happy.
Yeah, because at first her dad was knocking on the door, and then she makes the wish, and then suddenly it's her mom saying, "Hey, blah blah blah, come on out, happy birthday," and we get the clean shaven Ryan Felipe again.
Yeah, because apparently that makes a difference. And there's a couple little girls running around for some reason. I don't know what that was all about.
I guess
she had
sisters.
Kids.
She had some sisters now, and everything's all happy. She's like. She's going up into the attic, going through all the work because her mom was a painter. She's going through the work all her mom did, and then there's this dramatic. Oh, she's looking at a piece of work she did. It was like, oh my god, what? And it gives us a little 30 seconds of what is it? What is it? What is it? And it's a painting of the box. And then she looks out the window, and her dad and her dad's friend are cutting a tree branch
for some reason,
cutting a tree branch, and she like rushes out and says, "No, Dad, get away, and then chops his head off apparently. She's like, oh fuck, like the dad, Brian Felipe, R.I.P. It's like, okay, what the fuck is going on here?
It's like the funniest fucking movie in the world, I swear.
Yeah.
Jesus.
She's covered in blood. She runs through the house like,
and then she's like, now I know what to wish for.
I know.
Like, okay, it took you 6 wishes.
Take such bad acting too. Like, I know what to wish for. She's like on the floor crying. Yeah. She basically wishes for time travel as her 7th wish.
Yeah.
She wishes to go back before her to the morning where her dad found it.
The music box, yeah.
So that happens. The dog's alive. Everyone's normal.
Yeah.
She goes with her dad to go scavenging the day of so she can find the box first, which she does. And then she goes to school, chats up with her buddy. She makes a lot of in-jokes that happened in that timeline beforehand about multiverse.
Oh yeah.
Because like,
you're into multiverses too? No way.
Yeah. Just like while they were driving to her cousins, they were having a nice little conversation. And she's like, oh, there's a backstory of her giving like she farts in class, and he gets the nickname and he's blamed, gets the nickname McFarty Pants or whatever, and like she's like just dropping this knowledge like, oh yeah, maybe in another universe, in the multiverse, me and you are boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah.
And she like apologizes for the fart thing, and he's like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah. And it's like, that's not enough. She even kisses him like right on the lips.
Yeah, just out of nowhere.
Yeah. And
out of nowhere for him, at least.
Yeah, and all of his friends were like, "Yeah," woo. And it's like, oh my god.
And her friends were like, "Oh, yay!"
It's like, okay, in real life, if you spontaneously kiss somebody, that's not good.
Usually, yeah, but it is implied throughout the other movie that he did have a crush on her, so I don't know if he would mind that much.
I guess so, yeah.
But the thing is, ending of the movie. We're at the end here. He asks or she asks him to bury it. I don't know why. Like, this seems like a bad, like, I
Yeah,
feel
that's
like
the most
after,
irresponsible thing you could do.
ask a rent. Like, I feel like, sure, she might be tempted to start using it again, but like, she should probably hold on to it, keep it safe, maybe somewhere that no one else, maybe a lock it, throw it in the fucking ocean, do something where she, even if she is tempted, she can't get back to it.
Yeah, just get it away.
Yeah, don't
You
give
know?
it to somebody else that might.
It's like Jumanji.
Don't give it to somebody else that can read Chinese. I mean, come on. You're like, I mean, that's
Yeah.
just weird.
I
So
don't
she's
know.
like, yeah, see you tomorrow. She's, walking backwards into traffic. And of course, because it was the seventh wish that she wished to travel back in time, she just gets smashed. She gets hit by a car, goes flying into another car like a fucking pinball machine. She's like, oh shit, she did.
And that made it, and that honestly, that made the movie for me, because like, to me, to have all this bullshit happen and her moping around doing the Donnie Darko shit, with the cool music and all that stuff, only to have her all only to have it all lead to her just getting hit by a car. That's brilliant. Like, to me, that was the best way they could have ended the movie.
It was told too that she was gonna die way early on, that the seventh wish will kill you, but she just ignored that fact. Like, that would be like, okay, sure, I technically have 2 wishes left, but no, technically I have 1 if I want to live. Like, that would be the first thought. That would be the first fucking thing going through my mind if this information came to me. Like, all right, so technically I only have 6 wishes.
Yeah, make the most important wish and then burn it, or bury it, or do whatever, but instead she does pretty much the stupidest thing a person could possibly do, and she gets punished in the best way she possibly could. So really,
Popular Girl runs her over too.
Exactly, which makes it even more perfect. Like, that's like poetic justice. I mean, that was the perfect ending. And then of course they had to end it. They had to keep going with it.
After credits, after credits scene, we see the boy. He's going to bury it. He's digging a hole. He looks at it, reads it. 7 wishes. And then credits.
And that's like, no, like, we don't need a wish upon part 2. The first one was good enough. Like, moving on. Like, we already saw the lady get run over. Like, that's as good as it's gonna get.
I should do the prequel with Jerry O'Connell.
There you go.
Yeah, because there are because there's a World War II guy that because Ryan's explained, or that this has happened before. World War II, some guy had got it, and then some guy down the street from you apparently had it.
Yeah.
Who was that? The guy you were speaking of? Or,
Jerry O'Connell. Just random.
His
random
face looked
cameo.
familiar. I
didn't understand that. Yeah.
And then also a prequel. Her mother, like,
that never got explained.
Like, did she use the box ever? Like,
I think so.
It must be the reason. Like, the secrets that her father talked to her about must have been she was plagued with guilt that these wishes she was making, like, maybe a wish was that she was a great artist, painter. Was the 7th wish the one that caused her to kill herself? I don't know.
What did she wish for if they were in, like,
a shitty house?
Yeah.
Like, she must have. Maybe the only wish she made was that she was a good artist, and the guilt of someone dying made her kill herself. I don't know.
Yeah. Or maybe she accidentally died and somehow it looked like a suicide. Like, maybe she accidentally strangled herself.
But no, we do see
secretly had.
The thing is, we do see it straight up in some type of flashback. Is we actually see a good shot of her with a noose around her neck, popping, and we do see an actual shot of it not being an accident. So.
Oh, okay. Well, then her daughter's just an evil bitch.
Yeah. Like, we don't know what really the mother, because the mother obviously had some type of connection to the box because she did a painting of it. She did throw it away, I assume, was because that was an oddly shaped package in the beginning. and it was, found just a couple blocks away. So, there's
Yeah.
prequel
that's true.
ideas, but let's not go sequel-y. Let's not do prequels either, though, please.
Yeah, we no more Wish Upon, and I don't need any more of that.
Yeah.
I mean, if they want to, then they can go right ahead. But I don't think I need to see them.
Right.
One was enough. One was more than enough, actually. Let's be
Yeah.
real. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Zach?
It was okay. Like, I got Blumhouse vibes from it, like when
Me
it was
too.
starting. So I was like, I don't know, but it was kind of entertaining.
Yeah.
I gave it
Yeah.
a 2.
Too.
Yeah.
Maybe a 2.5 after talking about it a little more.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I'd give it a nice 2.5, probably. I wish the deaths were more a little bit Final Destination-y.
Yeah.
They kind of did, but they weren't intricate enough. They weren't, Rune Goldberg-y enough for me to say they were cool deaths.
Mhm.
They just had the vibe of it, but nothing cool-ish about any of them, really.
Yeah. Well, for me, this is another one of those situations where, kind of like Samurai Cop, as far as entertainment value goes, I give it a 5 out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I loved this movie. I thought it was hilarious, honestly. As a movie, it kind of sucked. I'd probably give it maybe a 2. I like the soundtrack. I kind of like the Disney Channel vibe thing they got going on with the visuals and the shitty teenager stuff. I like that it tried to imitate movies like Donnie Darko and Butterfly Effect and stuff like that, as far as being just pure cynicism about like how, for some people, life just basically the message of the movie is that some people don't deserve to live, at least in my opinion. That's the message I got. Or maybe I'm just reading too into it. But I enjoyed it. It was definitely not like a good movie, but I was entertained very, very, very much by it.
Yeah, I'll give it a 3. I'll bump mine up to a 3.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what to say, really. Like, it's not the type of movie I would, it's not the type of movie I would recommend. But if somebody like went up to me and said, hey, like, what's a movie that's bad in a special way? Like, maybe this would maybe be a contender, like, for something I would kind of give them. Like, I might throw this title out,
Yeah, I'd recommend it if you.
Yeah. I mean, it was entertaining. The idea was fun,
Like a general audience wouldn't mind it as much.
Probably not.
But
yeah.
Yeah,
Like, I think if you're a teenager and you just want to see like a silly horror movie, then this movie is probably pretty ideal. Like, I don't think it's gonna offend most people too much anyway. But somebody like me who's seen a lot of shitty movies and enjoys shitty movies and watches something like this and has a lot of fun, it's kind of ideal. So.
Yeah. It was a good one.
Yeah. I'm glad you chose it.
Oh, and one thing I was curious about is why the fuck did everyone in the school keep calling her Winner?
Oh yeah,
It's a random thought. I don't know.
Like the bullies explain, but they didn't.
Yeah, like the bullies were like the bully people were just calling her "nice one, Winner." Like,
yeah,
what do we? And they kept doing it, and they never explained it. What? Winner? What? Okay.
I also loved how it was a school and yet there were no teachers except for that one dude. Like,
yeah, that fight that fight was like going on a while. I was like, where are the fucking teachers here? Come on. Like, they got into a big kerfuffle that lasted quite a while for even, I don't know, just even editing type terms, like just a whole minute of them fighting. A teacher would have been there, I think.
Oh my god, that fight scene was just perfect. Like, it's a good one.
Yeah.
Excellent choice. All right. And I guess that's about it. I guess that's all there is.
Yep.
Yep.
So now we are going to choose. I'm assuming you folks have already kind of decided what you've wanted to choose, right, for our next episode.
Yep.
I got
Okay.
mine. Yep.
Okay, I'm still kind of I'm still sorted, like deciding. I have a bunch here on this list, so you guys can go first while I think about this more.
Okay. It's a 1994's North.
Okay.
Okay.
Seen it? Heard of it?
I don't think I've heard of that one.
I think it has Elijah Wood in it, right?
Yep. Child
Okay.
Elijah Wood.
Excellent. All right, cool. North. I'm looking forward to it.
And
Oh, Rob Reiner's the director.
Oh wow, the guy who did Stand By Me.
Huh.
There's more than one Rob. Yeah.
Oh, my camera just overheated.
Oh, okay. Well,
all
we
good.
can still hear you.
Yeah. Okay. My pick's gonna be Showdown in Little Tokyo.
All right. Wonderful.
Nice.
My dad has the poster of that.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. I think I'm gonna go with Shrunken Heads.
Okay.
It's a full moon video pick release, but it is one that I'm pretty sure I've seen it. It's another one of those weird ass movies that I saw when I was a kid. I think I may have even seen it around the same time I saw Motorama. And I'm just kind of in disbelief of my memories of it enough that I kind of want to rewatch it as an adult. So I'm going to go with Shrunken Heads.
That was on my list too, because I have the Blu-ray.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, Shrunken Heads. All right, so Shrunken Heads, North, and Showdown in Little Tokyo.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's going to be a good episode.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a horror movie, we got a comedy, and we got a martial arts movie. It doesn't get any better than that.
Yep.
Pretty good lineup.
Lots of variety.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, until next time, have a good night, and peace out.
Have a good one.
See ya.
Oh yeah, and be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.